Welcome to day 18 of the Whisky Advent Calendar. 7 days till Christmas after this. Today's a classic. And then I'm going to tell you a little secret about mistakes on videos, because I find them entertaining. This is Bruichladdich, the classic Laddie. And this one, man, this is their unpeated Islay malt. So there's two unpeated Islas, or at least mostly unpeated in one's case, that I think really showcase what Islay is capable of when it's not peat dominant. And Islay, not peat dominant, is still astoundingly subtle and rich, and way more like other island malts that are not heavily peated. Heads more to the direction of Oban and like Tobermory, not the Legic, which is more peat smoke. But this one on the nose is just so malty butterscotch. You can smell the wash in this. That new make, even as old as it is, you can smell the new make. It's still got all that super vegetal beer characteristic. And then there's a spiciness to this that always makes me wonder if they didn't run this after one of the Bruichladdich peated runs. Because you would swear up and down that there was a hint of peat in this. But, you know, it says right on the front of the bottle, unpeated Islay single malt. But that's just so peppery and so nice, but so subtly done. It's not overly spiky. It's not overly sweet, even. Now, here's your artist. Are you ready? I think this is Daniel Lanois, which is one of Canada's best gifts to music ever. Daniel Lanois is a musician with a ton of albums in his own right, written songs for half the most famous artists you've ever heard of, produced a vast majority, co-produced at least, the vast majority of the U2 albums, several of my favorite albums from other artists. Willie Nelson's Teatro, Daniel Lanois produced it. Emmylou Harris' Wrecking Ball, maybe one of the great albums of all time, Daniel Lanois produced it. Just on and on and on. But his own stuff is magical, and it's this thing where it would almost be groovy blues and sometimes almost big rock, but his voice is so pretty and his echoey guitars are so melodic and threaded that I would say if you had to pick an album, start with Shine and then move to Here Is What Is, which is also a great album. And the cast of musicians on his albums are always jaw-dropping. I don't know if you know this, but on Leonard Cohen's most recent album that his son put out posthumously for Leonard Cohen, I think Daniel Lanois is one of the musicians on that album. And he's on, when you start looking up his credits, you'll be blown away by everything that he's done. So Daniel Lanois, just this sonorous, high melody, little bit of edginess, mostly in the guitar tones, but pretty, overall pretty. Now, okay, I'm gonna tell you a story about a flaw. You ready? One of my so we have this sort of rule, whereas we edit videos, and these are not edited at all. I chop the ends and I leave them as they are. But we edit the vault videos a little bit, and we edit or a lot in Rex's case. We edit the Saturday episodes are astoundingly edited, a crazy amount of work. But we tend to leave in little knucklehead mistakes instead of going back and reshooting or fixing it. And so I am a deep introvert, maybe one of the most introverted people you will ever meet in your life. I'm a hermit level introvert. And when an introvert is performing, which is what this is, right? Camera's rolling, I'm talking to the camera, this is performance mode. My mind is not here with you. My mind is outside my body, standing on the other side of the room, watching me do this, going, oh, that was an interesting choice. And so outside influences distract me like crazy, and I lose focus, and I can't get, because I'm constantly being pulled out of my train of thought. And I'll recall things from other moments and I'll feed them in. And then it's not until we watch a video back that I'm like, what? I said, what? That's insane. And then we leave it in, and it's like, well, it's so knucklehead. But I don't mind it because here's the thing. I know what I know, and I don't give two shits what anyone else thinks I know at all. And so I don't mind leaving in mistakes. But one of my more like, I wish I could take that back. But oh well, it is what it is. Was the very first video I did with Modern Rogue. I talked about the go back and watch it. I talked the Bruichladdich Laddie and all these peat influences. Now, I know that the Laddie is unpeated. It's been one of my favorite whiskeys for a decade. But what happened was, before we were shooting, we were drinking a peated Bruichladdich. And we were talking about all these notes. And then when we were choosing whiskeys for the shoot, I grabbed this one as a more subtle, nuanced, interesting whiskey for the video. And as we started talking, I'm standing in between the guys and I'm trying to find my way. And I pick it up and I smell that pepper. And all I can recall is the peated Bruichladdich we just had. And so I start talking about peat. And it wasn't until Brian released the video and he had like hundreds of people going, "The Bruichladdich not peated, motherfucker." That I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. I don't know what happened. Those are the things that when you shoot as much as we do, man, your mistakes and your embarrassing moments are out there for the whole world forever. And that's not something I've ever gotten used to. But it's not going to stop us from shooting, and it's not going to stop me from making more mistakes. And I'm just glad that I have this community of non-assholes to hang out with while I regularly flub it on video. But it's hard to mess this one up. Go listen to Daniel and Wah. I think one of my favorite songs on that album is Shine, on the Shine album, the title track. Until tomorrow, may your crazy stay the side of legal, and may you return before we have time to miss you. Cheers.